a little bit of Europe. We've got Taipei on here too. So a little bit of Taiwan. So we've got a little bit that's over in Asia, but mostly I'm thinking, India as well. So this is all over. And you guys, if you have not ever met Dr. Shelly Hester before, she has been with Nu Skin now
13 years.
13 years. Yeah. And has worked on some of the most amazing innovation that we have here at Nu Skin. And so, Shelly, I want you to tell our audience today just a little bit about who you are and your background with Nu Skin.
Yeah. So I have been with Nu Skin almost 13 years. I think my anniversary is in just a few weeks, actually.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it's gone really quick. But I am a research scientist here. So that means, I'm on the team where we get to formulate products, recommend what ingredients are in our formulations, but then we get to do the science, showing their efficacy. Then we also get to build the formulas, right?
Wow.
Put them in the different formats.
Yeah, that is so exciting. Now, tell me about your PhD.
Yes.
What did you study?
Yeah, so my undergrad was actually dietetics.
Okay.
So I am a registered dietitian. And after undergrad, I did my PhD in nutritional sciences.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is perfect, especially when we're talking about nutrition, health, and wellness, and Prism and Life Pack.
Exactly.
Like these are all. It's like made. You're made for this. Okay. So today in particular, we're going to be talking about youth.
Yes, one of my favorite products.
And it is such an incredible product. I've seen the data on multiple levels, but tell me why you love youth.
I love youth because, I try to eat healthy, right? We know, you guys just talked about Life Pack. We know you can always do better. But I feel like ageLOC Youth is one of those products that everybody can have, right? And need, because you cannot get these ingredients in your diet on a regular basis. So even if you feel like I eat really well, this product is still helpful.
That is perfect. So you guys that are on, I want to know how many of you are consuming youth on a regular basis, or youth is something that you're promoting to your customers. Yes, Y-Span in Canada. Tell us if youth is part of your supplement stack. And then I also want to know, what are some of the benefits that you see of youth in your experience, in your life? So I'm seeing on here, yes, everyone, we've got some big loyal fans on here: energy, brain health, skin, muscle recovery. So I'm seeing, perimenopause symptoms. So lots of different things that the people that are on are inflammation, mental fog. Okay, so we're seeing all these benefits that are flying up from the individuals that are big youth advocates and love the product. But I want to dive in and talk a little bit about why we started researching youth and gene expression.
Yeah, I mean, really the idea of ageLOC Youth was we wanted a formulation that helped with youth span. And so with that, we're not talking longevity. We're not talking, living longer. We're talking about living better, right? We want to be healthier for as long as possible so you can do those things that you love to do.
Yeah. Okay, so youth span, and that means it's the years you live, but getting more out of the years that you're living.
Exactly.
Right? Okay,
yes.
And so that was the goal. Mm-hmm. Why did we target specific genes with, those genes? How did those tie into being able to feel better, live better, longer?
Yeah, so with the gene expression, with ageLOC, right, we want to go to the source of the problem.
Yeah.
And so the source of the problem with anti-aging, helping with youth span, a way we can do that is through gene expression, right? Because the way you live, the things you consume, like a supplement, can impact your gene expression and help with that youth span. So that's why we targeted gene expression.
Okay. So let's dive in a little bit, because you can see the genes and you're like, we want to target these specific genes that impact youth span.
Yep.
But how do you go about finding the formula, the ingredients that are best going to address the expression of those genes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the first step that we did is our team actually went to the scientific literature, right? And we looked at what natural ingredients impact anti-aging. And so we kind of had this bucket of ingredients, right?
Yeah.
And then we took that bucket, and it was a pretty, extensive list.
Yeah.
And then we did screening using gene expression. So initially we screened individual ingredients and how they impacted gene expression.
Yeah.
And so we were comparing these ingredients when they were fed to a preclinical model and how it compared to gene expression in a youthful population. So we
Okay.
wanted more youthful gene expression.
Okay.
So we would see which ingredients perform the best, and out of those ingredients, we then formed the youth blend.
So you could see, you looked at a youthful population. So I'm guessing that was largely based off of age.
Age, and we actually had what we call a positive control in science. So we had a healthy aging group. And
Okay.
so in our studies, that's calorie restriction.
Okay.
Because we know calorie restriction helps, improve, anti-aging benefits, but it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah, it is hard to do.
diet for long term,
Yeah.
as we all know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was our control that we
Okay.
were comparing it to.
I'm just curious, do you recall the calorie restrictions? These individuals, was it that was just what they did, or were they restricting calories intentionally?
So typically with calorie restriction models in humans, it is intentional.
Okay.
And preclinical it is
Okay.
too. Yeah, because
And-
it's at a level it's not sustainable.
Okay. Do you remember the calories? that they were
All
consuming?
studies are a little different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious on that because I've heard with calorie restrictions and fasting, there's a lot of benefits that come along with that.
For sure.
Okay, so those were the control groups, and then you said we had like this bucket of ingredients that we knew impact or at least there's studies that show that they preserve youth or
Yeah.
allow us to maintain our youth longer.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do those genes express, or what do they look like? How do we know that somebody is living more, I don't know how to say this, youthfully, younger?
Yeah. So, let's look at an example, because once we had those individual ingredients, we then put the blend together.
Okay.
And so in a preclinical model, we actually fed the youth span blend. So here's a heat map where you can see typical aging, right? This is just as you age, no special diet, just a control diet.
Yeah.
And then we had that healthy aging group. And, again, this is that positive control,
Yeah.
this control that we know helps with anti-aging benefits. And you can see their gene expression is very different, right?
Yes.
Just by looking at the colors.
It's almost opposite.
It is. And then ageLOC Youth, it really aligns almost perfectly with the healthy aging group.
Wow.
You really can't tell the difference
Yeah.
between the two.
So we would look at those individuals that before taking ageLOC Youth were down in this lower typical aging category. After taking ageLOC Youth for how long?
So this was a preclinical model. So it was, I believe, from 12 months to 30 months.
Okay.
So it was a pretty long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so after taking ageLOC Youth for that period of time, then we saw the expression line up better
Exactly.
with what we have.
Yeah.
What
and
we see in healthy
and this
aging.
data is in the brain, the cerebral cortex, but we also did it in skeletal muscle and the heart as
Oh,
well.
really?
And same findings, very similar gene expression.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned brain, skeletal, muscle. How does this express? Like, what did you see? Like, what are the outcomes? Because when somebody sees this, they're like, oh, I can see it. But how did those individuals that were part of the study, how did they feel with these changes?
Yeah, so basically we took this gene expression and then we did additional analyses. We actually worked with our SAB member, Dr. Jose Vina, and we did like a sub-network analysis
Yeah.
or pathway. So then we were interested in, okay, all these genes that are changing, like, are there certain groupings, right? Are they involved in certain pathways?
Yeah.
So for the brain, for example, we saw positive increase in like memory, learning,
Okay.
those types of things. And each tissue was different, based
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the outcomes. So yeah, very drastic gene expression changes, but then, we dove into, those pathways and subnetwork and saw some really great findings.
That is really interesting. Okay, you mentioned skeletal and muscular.
Yeah.
Did you see anything in those areas?
Yeah, no, we definitely saw it. And We published an entire paper on this that did share, these heat maps along with those additional findings of the subwetteric analysis. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Where is there a place that those individuals that are on with us today could actually go and find that study?
So we definitely do have clinical bulletins
Yeah.
on that, and then the full paper is open access to
Okay.
on PubMed.
Okay,
So,
on PubMed,
yeah.
and I wonder if it's also listed in that Substack that we put together.
I'm pretty sure it's in Substack.
Okay.
And then of course the citations in the PIP
Okay.
as well.
So let's go back to the formula. When we're looking at the formula, what are some of the major ingredients or some of the the bioactives that are in there?
Yeah, I mean, youth is a blend, right? So we have kind of that foundation of omega-3s, like the fish oil, but then you have like alpha-lipoic acid and coenzyme Q10, and then a number of different polyphenols, right? Like the purple corn, citrus bioflavonoids, rosemary.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all great ingredients. We have some vitamins too. There's vitamin K2 and vitamin D3 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why are these difficult to get in our diets?
Yeah. So let's look at another slide.
And I didn't see these slides beforehand, so I'm so glad that you have these and that we're on the same page.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are hard to get in your diet.
Yeah.
And how we always message and talk is there's kind of three reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, one is personal preference.
Yeah.
And one of the examples is citrus bioflavonoids.
Yeah.
So we all like to eat oranges, right? The juicy fruit
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
But the citrus bioflavonoids are actually at highest concentration in the peel.
So
And
just real quick, can you eat the peel?
I mean, you could, but it's quite bitter,
Right.
right? And we can use zest,
Yeah,
right? We'll
yeah,
all
yeah.
like garnish
Yeah.
with it, but it's not like you're eating
Yeah.
the entire peel.
I mean, if you wanted to, though,
I think you could.
and it would be
Yeah.
beneficial.
It would, or you
Okay.
could take ageLOC.
Or you could take ageLOC Youth. Okay.
Yes, I mean that's a great example of an ingredient that's,
Yeah.
challenging to
Yeah.
get. And then you just think geography, right? Like globally. So there's some ingredients in here that are just hard to get unless, you're in certain areas.
Yeah.
So one of those examples is purple corn.
Yeah.
And so commonly, I'm not aware of any other area really consuming that other than in Peru. And they actually drink it in a beverage called chicha morada.
Wow.
So it's like purple corn boiled with some spices.
Have you tried it?
I have not. Yeah. I
I'm
would love
interested
to.
understanding if
Yeah.
it is sweet or
I
if
think
it's
it is
savory.
sweet
It
from
is
my
sweet?
understanding,
Okay.
but anybody in Latin America, let us know.
Yeah, if
you've
you
tried
guys
it.
have been there and you've tried chicha morada,
Yeah.
tell us, how was it? But I would be curious to try that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not commonly consumed.
Right.
Another one would be vitamin K2. So, I mean, I'm not aware of high amounts of that in any food other than like fermented foods,
Yeah.
especially like natto, which they consume in Japan.
Japan,
It's
yeah.
like that
The
fermented
sticky soybeans.
Yes. Have you tried it?
I haven't, but my
Okay.
son,
Yes.
he just got back from Japan, and he was telling me that it's one of his favorite foods and that I need to try it.
Well, he's getting vitamin K2.
That's
so it's
great.
great.
That's
but
great.
I mean, many of us are not eating that.
Do you find it in kimchi as well?
Maybe low levels. I'd
Yeah.
have to look.
Okay.
I'm not sure on that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And you have the geography point, and then there's the other piece of just getting it consistently,
Yeah.
right? And I think a great example of this is like fish oil, like our omega-3s. Like I love to eat salmon,
Yeah.
but I don't want to eat it every
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or alpha-lipoic acid, that's an ingredient that is just really challenging to get consistently because foods just don't have high amounts
Yeah.
and it's very variable. So,
Okay, so I'm guessing based off of what we're seeing up here that the main ingredient, and knowing that it is an oil, or a what do we call that, a gel cap, that it is oil based, which does help with absorption as
Yeah.
well, but it's mainly the fish oils with some of these polyphenols that are in there as well. So, and I don't eat a whole lot of fish on a regular basis. But tell us a little bit about the polyphenols, because I've heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think I saw a study where even walking in the forest, you're breathing in polyphenols from the trees and everything. That's why hiking, you get a whole lot of benefits from hiking. But Tell us a little bit about polyphenols and the benefits and why we need them in our diet.
Yeah, I mean, I think polyphenols in general, that's what's so unique is it's such a large class. So they're all unique and have, different benefits.
Yeah.
But I think in general, polyphenols are definitely well studied for antioxidant ability, help with inflammatory balance, along with others. And so, I mean, when we talk about ageLOC youth, we talked about the gene expression,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then we kind of made what we called groupings of what we call aging defense mechanisms,
Yeah.
right? So these are the mechanisms that we have in all of the cells in our body and that we're able to basically preserve to help us have those anti-aging benefits,
Yeah.
right? And so it's areas. Aging defense mechanisms includes things like inflammatory balance, antioxidants, DNA protection, cell purification, cell renewal. So definitely polyphenols tie into improving all of those
Yeah.
areas of aging defense mechanisms.
That makes sense. Next week, we pre-recorded because we're not going to be here. So next week, you guys, we've got Joe Chang on with us again. And spoiler alert, we talked about how we preserve youth or anti-aging. And he said it's basically it's like a seesaw or teeter-totter. And on one end you have cell or tissue damage and you have tissue repair. And it's this balance of keeping the tissue repair. And from what you're saying, the ingredients in youth are pro-tissue repair.
Exactly, yeah. It helps you with that balance. It helps you with those aging defense mechanisms to protect your body against, the things that we're exposed to every day.
Yeah.
Overeating, pollution,
Yeah.
sun exposure.
Yeah.
Things we
Okay.
can't control.
So we've got a couple of questions that popped up in the comments, and it says, if you're taking Marine Omega, or if you're taking youth, do you still need Marine Omega?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, a lot of the studies for heart health, brain health are at that 1 gram of omega-3s, which you're getting with youth. But I think there's even greater benefits with getting a couple grams a day of omega-3s. Definitely no safety concern. So I think you can take just ageLOC youth, but I think there are additional benefits if you take another gram of omega-3s with Marine Omega.
So let me ask you this, because Dr. Joe Chang was talking about, when we're formulating, we're not necessarily looking at the RDA, the recommended daily allowances. We're looking at the upper limits. And we're looking specifically in the studies that we see that these are the most therapeutic levels of ingredients. So is there something that we should be concerned about? Can you consume too much when we're looking at fish oils?
Yeah, I mean, I think above 3-4 grams, I think that's when, I don't know if there's any additional benefit.
Okay.
So I think and when we formulate, it is true that, we're not just looking at RDAs. Sometimes we are, because sometimes you don't need above the RDA. Right. And definitely looking at upper limits, but we're looking at those optimal amounts, right? Those amounts that we know provide those additional benefits.
Okay, I am seeing in the comments, there's Gary Harris here. He said he was in Peru last month and enjoyed chicha morada. It's delicious, and asked that very little sugar be added. So
that's awesome.
That is great. Now I'm curious, how many of you guys are eating like sardines or canned fish on a regular basis? Because that's not a part of my regular diet. I don't know. Are you?
No.
Is that something?
No.
I'm just
I like
curious.
My salmon and tuna.
If we look at the number of people that we have on here, I'm seeing yes, sardines, yes. So I will eat on occasion smoked oysters packed in the the oil, but sardines, yes. Never, yes. Fat fish, not white fish. Nope. Pickled herring from Sweden. That's really interesting, and I wonder if you were to look at the populations. I see that you've got up there in Scandinavia like a bubble that shows the fish, and I know that is a big part of the diet up there is the herring. And so I'm curious if you find higher levels of omegas in, or even brain health in those populations that are there.
Yeah, and there's kind of like those blue zones, right?
Yeah,
and I think that definitely
coincides
helps. Like the
with
Mediterranean diet, it's very high in fish oil. So we know that eating higher fish definitely has benefits. I also saw a question on, can you consume too much vitamin K2? And I just want to address that because I think sometimes we get concerned with vitamin K. There's different forms of vitamin K. So vitamin K1, that form can have a larger impact on like your blood coagulation or blood thinning, where vitamin K2, you don't have to worry about that so much. So there is not as much a concern with vitamin K2.
Okay. That is great. So I've got a couple more questions for you. What other areas should we be looking into based on aging and gene expression?
That's a great question. I mean, like I mentioned, ageLOC is all about going to the sources of the issue, right?
Yeah.
So we've already developed like R squared that was focused on, improving energy and purification. We have ageLOC Meta that's all about metabolic health. So, we really could apply ageLOC science to many different areas, right? We could go so many different directions with that and go to the source of the problem and just not mask the signs and symptoms.
Is there a specific area where you've got like a burning desire to go deeper in there and like see what it is or do some research on it? Is this something that you can't talk about?
It might be on a little bit, but I have many areas like that. I think all of us as scientists, right, there's certain areas that we want to go, and sometimes it's just that certain time, right, for the business to actually do.
Okay, you guys stay tuned. Shelly's got some incredible things that she's working on or wants to work on. And I know that in the coming years and months, we're going to be seeing these come out in our products. You brought up R2, R squared, Vitality. And this is a product that before coming to Nu Skin, I hadn't looked at the value of I don't even know how to say this. Mushrooms, fungi, because we have, what's the main?
Cordyceps.
Cordyceps. We've got cordyceps. We also have reishi. And I've noticed that here at Nu Skin, we've got kind of this line of products that have some of these fungi or mushrooms that are in there. Where did that come from? And it seems like we've done quite extensive work in those areas.
Yeah, so I think Joe would be a great person to talk about that because it really came from some of those original ingredients, really going back to traditional Chinese medicine. So, we have a bit long history, of those ingredients like reishi, cordyceps that have been well studied, and we have, really great forms of those ingredients in our products.
You guys, if you are interested in learning more about cordyceps and learning more about reishi and how we got into the mushroom or the fungi and understanding those and using those in our formulations, I think let us know because I'm actually curious about it and I would love to pick Dr. Joe's brain on where these came from and the science behind them because it's a different approach, right? Yeah. Okay, last question. Do you have any suggestions for how to best use youth and who should be taking youth?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So we do recommend that you take ageLOC Youth with a meal. You want to get at least 5 grams of fat. That's not very much, right? That's like a teaspoon of olive oil or, 5 nuts. So it's not a ton, but that'll help with absorption because some of these are fat-soluble nutrients like the carotenoids in this product. So you want to take it with a meal. We do recommend taking it 2 soft gels twice daily.
Okay.
And the reason we suggest that is we actually did a pharmacokinetic study. So it was a study that looked at absorption and kinetics. And we saw that some of those ingredients, like the water soluble, you see an increase and then a decrease within an 8 to 12 hour period. You're smiling. Do you take them twice a day? It's hard for me. I tend to take it once a day, even though I was the one that helped with the science.
Like every time that we talk about this, I feel guilty because I take all of my youth and I take all of my nano all at the same time. And I also take tea green at the same time. And so I literally have, 20 plus pills in my hand. I put them all in my mouth. I get a glass of water or G3 and I wash it down. I can feel all of them just going down my throat.
We know that it's better to split, but at the same time, it's better to get it every day and be consistent. So like you, sometimes it's hard for me to remember to take it twice a day. So I do take it once. And we've also done studies with youth. So we did a scanner study. So we've shown that it has a really good response on the scanner. Within 2 weeks, you'll see, a significant increase.
That's great.
Well.
And I did notice, which we'll talk a little bit about next week, but on this most recent Jiao Tong study, that one of the things that correlates most with a positive scanner score was the amount of fish that you're consuming. And so I would imagine with youth, with the omegas that it has in there, and the sources of those are right in line with positive outcomes with your Prism.
Yeah.
Okay, Shelly, any other like recommendations, any other advice, or things of interest that you'd like to share with us?
Well, about ageLOC Youth, I mean, we have done a study, what we called like our skin youth study. I don't know if you've seen those results, where we got really positive response in individuals that took ageLOC Youth for a couple months. They basically had a better response to what we call ultraviolet light, UV light from the sun. They had less redness, less dead cells.
Yeah.
So great response. They also saw skin improvements as well. So that's a really great study. And then we also did a brain health study as well.
Okay. And all of these are available?
Yes. Yeah. We have clinical bulletins or full publications.
Okay.
But
if you guys are interested, I imagine all of these are found in the Substack under the Product Insider page. You can get the link there on Instagram. But we're also going to record this and have it posted, so you can find this on YouTube. But the links of these will also be found on Insider and on the Prism Instagram page. Shelly, it's been great having you today. I just want to ask a question.
Okay.
In your past, or not in your past, just in your free time, what is your favorite thing to do?
I have to say two.
Yeah.
I have a balance. So I love to cook and eat, especially my daughter. She's 9. She's at this age where she loves to be in the kitchen with me, so it's so fun. But then I also love to be outside and be active. Like mountain biking is one of my favorite things. So I always feel like it's a balance of, eating and cooking and then being active as well.
You've got to have the balance. But it's so good to have you on today. Thank you, Shelly. And you guys, I would love to hear from you in the comments or even on the Instagram page. Let us know what you want to hear about on these IWR broadcasts, because we want to hear from you, and we want to make sure that this content is information that you're going to be using in your businesses and to share with people. And more people that we have on, the better. So post this, talk about it, share the things that you're learning. But you guys, it's been a pleasure to be with you today. This is IWR. My name is Buck McMurray, and this is Dr. Shelly Hester. It's been a pleasure. Have an amazing weekend.
Wake up, light it up, colors in my soul.